Hey everybody! Welcome back to the Johnson Offroad YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about how this Ford Ranger right here landed James Gorman his job at Johnson Offroad.
My man just sitting up 40 acres. Who the neighbors? Hoping Brian from the Lakers. That ass paper. And I still mob through the hood. I don't need no waivers. Cause if you niggas give.
So about 2 years ago, my dad needed to get a bed liner done on his truck that he had at the time. And he needed me to pick him up because he was dropping it off at the shop. So we went down to Temecula to a place called Bullet Liner. And we pull up and I see this red Ranger that's got these chopped fenders and a little bit of a bed cage. And pull up behind my dad and I jump out. I'm looking around the truck. I'm like, man, this thing's pretty sweet. It looks like someone had built it in their driveway, but had a lot of the right techniques and things that you would look for as far as triangulation to tubing. And I'll be honest, I just thought the thing was pretty sweet. So we go in, get my dad's truck turned in and everything. I'm thinking about this truck all day. When my dad went to go pick the truck up, he asked the guy at the front counter, hey, is this your truck? He said, no, it's the guy in the back. So lo and behold, James came out. My dad got his number and said, hey, my kid's running in his shop. He needs some extra help. Would you be down to do like some of that after hours? And so I got a text from James and we went back and forth a few times, didn't end up working out. And then he eventually showed up to the shop. He was getting tired of spraying bed liner, and I wanted to see what the kid was capable of once he had a full set of tools and not just what he was doing in his driveway. And that's when James showed up here.
My name's James Gorman. This is my farm truck. So it started life out as a 92 Ford Ranger that was sitting up in the back of some guy's backyard that worked with my mom. He couldn't get it running for a while, couldn't get it to pass smog, and essentially all they used it for was when they were drinking with their buddies, they'd go out and kind of just smash this thing through his backyard. He kind of lived on some farm property out behind Valley Center, and he needed to get it off the property. So what he ended up doing is he was going to have a guy that he gave it to for doing some landscape work for him. But that guy didn't really want the truck because he didn't know how to get it running. So he told my mom to let me know that if I had $50 to pay that guy for his landscaping, I could have the truck. So needless to say, I loaded up the flatbed the next day and hauled ass up there and went and picked up the truck. So when I originally got it, it was just a stock 92 Ford Ranger, just a piece of crap, flat tires, all the lug nuts were loose, didn't run, the interior was roached out, it had a couple different things be birthed and deathed inside that truck, so it smelled awful. I just had to take basically a rolled up rope, throw it on the seat so I didn't sit on a bunch of dead rats when I picked it up and put it on the flatbed. And then I started building it from there. So the original build, when I did it, was actually lowered. So I took the stock wheels, just put some like kind of thin tires on it, and did an axle over on the back, and that lowered that 5 inches. And then naturally I cut the front springs with a saw so that I could get that to sit about the same height as the rear. And then I redid all the interior, and the interior now is still the same as the first original build. So we can take a look at that in there. So those are $99 seats from Jegs. They're for a Jeep TJ or YJ. And they're not awesome. The welds are really bad on them, but they're kind of a bucket seat and they fit. So that's what I ended up running with on those. The center console is actually from a Crown Vic. Basically any of your like police interceptors or anything like that. That's what it comes with. The real selling point for me on that one was on the Amazon picture. It had a picture of 6 beers in it and a little ice setup because it comes with a little removable thing that you can basically make it an ice chest. New carpet kit, that was also Amazon. At the time I was building the truck, I was working at a bed liner shop. He let me go ahead and do a bunch of custom bed liner stuff on all of the plastics to kind of refurbish those. So all of the A pillars, the B pillars, and all the drip rails and everything all have custom bed liner job on them. And the one thing that a lot of people really like would be the headliner in there. So I went to Joann's Fabrics and they had a discount rack. Now it looks a little bit different on the outside than it did when I originally built it. The main part is I got kind of a wild hair at my butt and decided that I could probably make some Polaris Razor shocks fit on the truck and kind of have like a pseudo pre-runner kind of short course build. I went down the rabbit hole of some Facebook Marketplace for a couple hours. Found a lady that must have been mad at her husband or boyfriend or something, because she sold me the entire set of shocks all ready to go with springs and sliders for 300 bucks. So it's a little bit rough, but the idea that I had behind it was to maintain the farm truck theme. Is that natural patina, it's got dents, it's all messed up, it's got scratches. Everything I did, even down to how I painted the tubes, I left it kind of a little bit barer, or more bare than you're supposed to, just so that it would kind of start to rust through it. The rear shocks are 12-inch stroke length. That's just like off your normal Walker Evans edition Polaris 1000. She gets down pretty good and it doesn't buck, so I'm pretty happy with it. Other than that, it's basically just all custom fabbed stuff. So I built everything in my driveway. No shade trees or nothing, so I'm not even a shade tree mechanic. Just a guy that would drink some beer and weld some stuff pretty much every day. So a lot of people seem to like the license plate cover that honk if parts fall off, because it's happened many times. Took it down the street, put it into about 4th gear, and I was starting to notice that it was kind of shaking pretty bad. Kind of figured that the tires just needed to be balanced or something, and right as that thought crossed my mind, freaking front tire passes me at about 50 miles an hour, took out the neighbor's mailbox and almost broke down one of their brand new trees. And in fact, I never even changed the rotor on it. It's still got a giant flat spot on it from where it was grinding down the pavement in 4th gear. So that was a little exciting. So this is something you don't see every day. A Ford with its hood up, right? Very original, as you can tell. Still has a broken zip-tied timing cover on there. Other than that, I just did a real simple engine cage on there. Kind of one of the sticking points of putting stuff where I did was the brake master cylinder here. So as you can see, I kind of have that as a little bit of a nut stop on the back there, but it doesn't smack it too hard, so far it hasn't broken anything, and it's working out pretty all right. So these are the same front shocks off that same razor. They are 2.0 Walker Evans with a 2.5 spring on it. I went ahead and made my own little bracket here and took some old exhaust flanges and some muffler tubing back here and kind of just created my own hot air intake. So that gives me probably at least 69 more horsepower. Other than that, it's all exactly just the stock 2.3 inline 4-cylinder twin spark. It's the HO. So 8 spark plugs on that bad boy. Power steering leaks, valve cover leaks, rear main leaks, but that's so you don't get any rust on the important stuff. So I'm pretty all right with that. Just throw a couple bottles of stop leak in there every now and then. She keeps on running. Front shocks just go straight to the stock I-beams. It's not got any aftermarket I-beams or anything on it. Stock steering, stock radius arms even, but I was able to pull an extra 5 inches of travel out of it over stock, and it cycles fairly clean. One side bump steers about 2 inches or so, but stock steering, what can you do? For what it is, it handles great, and I haven't had any real problems with it. I've jumped it, ran over curbs in it, I've three-wheeled it around town many times, and if it's wet and you got good enough air, you can get it to slide, and it pretty much feels like a drift truck until its axle hops a little bit because it's got really soft springs on it, but it kind of stays flat. So that's the farm truck, and glad to see or show you guys some more shots of it.
So should we just go drive it?
Let's go drive that thing, man. That's the farm truck, guys.